So
And
when you first started as a teacher, what was the like social perception of teachers at the time? Was it good or was it not so good?
during my time, it was good
Mm-hmm.
because not many people were educated to that level. I wouldn't say they're highly educated, but not many people are educated to that level. So if you're a teacher, people look up to you, you
So
know?
are you saying that, as the standard of education rose and more parents became educated, this began to change that parents' perceptions, even maybe their, children's perceptions of teachers might change?
Uh, I don't know. There was this
Mm.
thing that I can't remember the slogan. It's about one of the firms had introduced this slogan about seeing students and parents as customers, and that one really brought. And there was a slogan I cannot remember. That one really was a downhill for teachers. It's like, hey, so the entitlement came in. It's like you are doing things here, you know. Of course, they don't think that they are customers and we have to serve them. But there was a I won't even use subtle. There was a slight subtle change that after that it really went downhill. They were complaining to the MOE about what schools do, what the teachers do, and so on and so forth. And that was really bad. And that it was during that time that the teachers, really felt that there was this unfair treatment. Yeah, because we have to spend time writing the report. We were okay when they complain to the MOE. MOE will then they will always send it back to the school because the school will be the one to handle it. MOE doesn't handle, but they think that MOE is the one who will tell us, and therefore the school have to comply. But it doesn't work that way. So when they send it to the principal, then the principal will surface it. Then we have to do investigation. Then we have to do report. Then we spend it was very terrible. We spent so much time, unnecessary time and energy catering to these complaints. And many of them are keyboard warriors. And when you want to speak them, talk about the children, they won't appear. I think they were also busy, like some of them. But I must say that those people who are keyboard warriors, they are more highly educated. And otherwise, those days when our parents' time, they just left the school to do everything. They trusted the school. Okay. Yeah. And then,
Yeah.
of course, we children, we don't go back and complain what our teachers did to us because if we complain, we will get more scolding or beating from our parents. Then, yeah, I'm not saying that the teachers were right all the time, but that was the scenario.
Yeah, I just want to ask you a question. You talked about your childhood, which was, in quite a poor family, and me as well. I grew up in a working class family. How was your experience been? Dealing with or working with working class parents.
First of all, there's very little complaint from them. And when the children have problems, it's very difficult to get them to come to school. Yeah, because to them, it's like, I have to work and make a living. I don't have time for all these things. You just take care. So that is the sad part, because you really need to work with parents for some issues. Yeah, so that is no complaints, nothing. They leave it to you to do your things. Yeah. That was the working class parents then, but now there are no such thing. Every parent is highly educated. Almost every other parent could be a graduate. And I must say, the young adults, as they were growing up, when times are better, they're growing up in the late 80s and 90s. They grew up in a good environment. They all went to the university, and when they become parents, they're very entitled. I'm seeing a trend. I'm not saying all of them like that. And then the entitled adults become entitled parents, and then it rub off on the children. Because when early on, this word entitlement is entitled, me, mine, and I never surface. But nowadays, it's just everybody is talking about me, mine, and I mentality. So it is difficult for the schools to manage. I have managed cases where the parents are so challenging and demanding that at the meeting with my principal, I told my principal, I want to have this recorded, because he was just berating me. And I couldn't say anything. I am not there to argue this and that and that. And I told my principal, I want this to be recorded. And straight away, his tone changed. Because the child was being disciplined, and he didn't like the way the school disciplined the child. He felt the school was unfair, the school was taking out, and so on and so forth. And he went on and on and on and on. And he said all this with a smile, okay? Yeah,
Wow.
he said all this with he was not like angry. Yeah. And then another parent was also not berating me, but he was saying that, your school did this, your school did it. This parent said this, you all did this. And I said, can you ask these parents? We will discuss the matter and then we will find out more. She stopped talking. So why did I bring that up? Yes. So you say the type of parents, they are just different.
Yeah. So what do you think is their purpose of doing that? I mean, they come to the school and they put the blame on you. They are not. Are they interested in finding the solution? To the issues that the student might be facing.
The solution is the solution that they want. That is the problem. The solution is the solution that they want. But then the school also has certain, I won't say rules. There are certain things that we need to do in a certain way, and we have to meet and meet halfway. We know the child well. You know your child in a different way. You see the child differently. Okay, and we see the child, so we have to put the pieces and the pictures together to say, okay, this is how the child is like at home. She's like that. In school, she's like that. We are sharing with you what we know and how can we work with the child, because the whole point of seeing parents is really to make things better for the child. Not the punishment is a side issue. Discipline and all this, they are side issue. It needs to be done because certain hurt and pain has been inflicted. So certain things have to be done. But other than that, it's really to guide the child to move towards a better pathway. Yeah, and both can work together. Yeah, but sometimes parents just listen to the child, and the child have certain perception that the teachers are unfair. The teachers is picking on him or her. Yeah, so that is a challenging part. And the working parents is that they will not. It's difficult to get them to come to school, to work with the school to help the child. So this is, on the other hand, the parents always there. What's the school going to do? What's the school going to do? What's the teacher going to do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Not many, but enough for us to feel that the pressures on that. And this is one thing that the teachers are really afraid of.
Yeah, correct. It's tip of the iceberg, right? And I mean, you brought up punishment. You brought up that. So the context in which we meet the parents often sets the tone, right? Because there's usually some issue with performance, or there is some transgression, and parents might come therefore being a bit defensive and listening to one side of the story from the child. I'm just thinking from a social perspective, right? Is this because now most parents have one or two children, and that kind of the children is a huge part of their world, right? And that this leads to overcare or over love of the child compared to willingness to acknowledge certain real issues that the child might have. Do you think that that's kind of the culture of parenting, the problem with parenting?
Yeah, that has a great part to play with this, because the probably when the parents themselves grew up, their parents have taken very good care of them. In fact, I found that many of my colleagues were teachers too. They don't need their children to do anything at home, because your time is for you to study. Don't need to do this. So much so that once when I was talking to my I got a shock anyway. I was talking to my colleague, and she said that the helper left. Then she was just struggling to keep the two. The children are already in secondary school, Sec 3, 4. Oh, yeah. And I said, oh, so how are you managing it? Have you got? And he said, no. Then he said, my daughter has to make Milo herself. And she started tearing. I was like, what is this?
What?
Making Milo. It's such a so so what I'm trying to say is, yeah, parents don't, they just get their children to focus on studying and nothing else. Don't need to do anything. Okay, that's one thing. And the other thing, I suppose they are working parents and they only come back and they see their child maybe for a short period of time. So you don't want to start scolding them or disciplining them or saying things that are not so pleasant. So I think all this, and they didn't have a chance. And okay, this one is my pet peeve.
Mm.
Parents on using the phone, and ignoring their little child. When I take public transport, I observe. I used to enjoy seeing, grandparents and the child talking away, parents talking to the child. But now the parents' eyes are peeled onto the phone, and then the child will be there sitting, looking around. Okay, most of the time the child also have a phone. But there was once where I saw, oh, so wonderful. This boy came out with the mother, and then they were talking for a while. Then after the mother took the phone out, and then the boy kept on talking to the mother. The mother, and in the end, the boy felt so sad and just leaned against the mother and shut the eyes and keep quiet. There's no conversation. Okay, whether at a dinner table, I think parents, they are aware. Okay, but whether or not they themselves are really give the child the time. No, that is the time when you're eating, when you can have conversation. It doesn't take place. The conversation doesn't take place. Of course, the children are the problem, but the parents have to be the one who sort of be the. I don't like to use the role model. I want to say that children learn what they see. So this is not enough conversation. And the conversation is, how do you do in school? Do you do well? What kind of conversation is there?
Yeah. Let's move away a little bit from the parents and talk about your students, right? Have you found miniature versions of yourself? Students who love to learn and to listen to you and to do their homework. Have you found students like that?
Oh, I come from, many of my students are from mainstream. When I was teaching them, I found that they were very attentive. And I was teaching chemistry and bio. It's not the easiest of subjects. They didn't do very well. But I think when they send me the note or whatever, they tell me they really enjoyed the lessons. I think I have laid some foundation for them in the interest in biology and so on. I think I have. And I must say that when I see them outside years later, which I couldn't recognize them, they reminded me that I was their bio teacher. So I like to remember that the students did learn something, whether or not. Okay, in school we do analyze our results. Okay, the students that I taught, they exceeded expectations because you have this score. This is how it works. No? You have a PSLE score. You have this PSLE score. The average, then when you sit for a bio paper or a chemistry paper or a maths paper, the average score of this group of students will be this. And by and large, many of them are above average, above the expected score. So they have done well in that sense. Yeah. So right. I like to think they have paid attention and they have learned something. Yes.
So again, so you have taught for how many years? From 73. When did you retire? When did you stop?
I stopped. And then I carried on as an adjunct teacher for a while. So I stopped only last year. But I actually stopped teaching in 1980. In 1997.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Was that
when I say stop,
stop?
I have less teaching and more admin work to do.
Right.
Yeah. So okay. Yes. So, but having said that, we do a lot of leading and guiding the teachers. And I was made the vice principal in 2004. And I worked in HQ for 10 years. Yeah. So,
Mm. Yeah, could I take you up on those things, right? So when you move up to a leadership position, how does that change? Does that mean that, I mean, you are in less contact with the students? Is this now like a new phase, right, of your teaching journey as an educator?
when I was made the vice principal, I, depending on the culture of the school, I stepped into the classroom quite a bit, talking to students. Yes, even though I don't teach them, we talk about general things and so on. So I get to know a lot about the normal tech students, and so I did, and of course some discipline issues uh, about the school, um, um, ethics and expectations. So I did have quite a bit of conversation with the students.
Mm.
Yeah. Mm.
Mm. I mean,
So
how?
it
Yeah.
definitely changed. But I think being in the leadership position really helps a lot because you have an overview of the whole thing. And when you have a good school leader who shares enough information, we work together to improve the school. It is very satisfying because the impact is much more. And then we work a lot also with the heads of department. Yeah. So although the conversation with the students not as much, but the conversation with the key personnel who actually carry out the policies and program, it is far more important because the impact is really there.
I'm very interested in that period actually, because '98 was when I joined teaching, and of course I wasn't aware at the time that this was a sea change in Singapore education, and I had no frame of comparison, right? Because I just joined only. But I think for my more senior colleagues, they felt, they really felt it, that the amount of work they had to do, the new things they had to do, because of TSLN, because of national education, because of creativity and uh, what's there? Critical thinking skills, and all that. So did this for you? Did this phase from '97 onwards, 2000s, especially being in a leadership position, being in HQ, did this was this for you a major change in Singapore's education?
I think it is a major change. As well, to me, it's also a gradual change that we need to. And of course, it's very painful when we on the receiving end, but I think we need to move fast because each time we do not, if we can't, we think that something is good for the school and we do not act on it, we have one cohort of students who missed out on that. Yeah. So it is important, but it is how the school communicates and roll out this program to the teachers. And that is the important part. If that is not done well, the stress level is very, very high because it's like everything, so many new things coming in. We have to do this, we have to learn this, we have to implement this. And then, we have to answer to MOE, then we have to answer to the parents because you all read about it in the papers. So it was stressful but if you have good leadership and the way we sort of cascade it down, it does help. I must say that in the schools that I went to, I have very good school leaders, and although the teachers may not be able to appreciate it, but when they talk to their contemporaries in other schools, they realize that our school did it very well. Especially COVID period, it was a madhouse. COVID period, so many things were just coming in, and then they change, and the teachers have to carry out. It was a very painful period, and for the school leaders as well, because we just received, and then we really have to look at the whole thing and how do we then, do the really important things and yet not inundate the teachers with so much painful experience because things keep on changing. After you roll this out, and something else came in. I experienced that twice. One during the SARS period, and the other one during the COVID period. I mean, the very challenging part. Yeah, the rolling out of.
Could you talk about the SARS period? That was did that affect the school a lot?
It was interesting that during the SARS period, even though the SARS was a more serious problem, we didn't put on masks. There was no such thing as masks.
Yeah.
But we have to close the school down. But the problem was communication. In order to close the school down, the principals cannot make local decision. You have to hear from MOE. And MOE cannot make the decision until they hear from MOH that there is a student in this class here that has this. So it is very difficult to align and close this gap. And sometimes at the local decision, we just close and say, okay, this class doesn't come to school. And then we really get hell from MOE. Because why are you doing this? And the principal was so upset. The principal said, I am here. The parents called me. The child has this, and I'm acting on it. I cannot wait for you. But of course, they have the protocol to follow, and therefore you just cannot make local decision. But these are exactly what we need to do. Except we didn't hear it from MOE. So yeah, it was quite challenging. So SARS was quite a frightening thing. I think it was short, and we didn't have. I don't remember putting on masks. The schools didn't close down, except that instead of we just extended the school holidays. I think the JC went back to school first, then after the secondary school, and lastly the primary school. Because that disease was so frightening. You catch it, and then before you know it, the person died. Because every morning you hear on radio and TV how many people died of SARS. Yes, so it was and people just know how to keep away. Yeah.
Right. So when it came to COVID, were you an adjunct teacher at the time?
COVID.
2020.
2020.
Did you do the study from home sort of experience?
I at that point I was still doing the administration, so I was in school every day. Yeah.
Oh, you're in school every day. Okay.
Yeah. In fact, the teachers were quite happy to come. The teachers were quite happy to come back to school. But those who need to come to school, because at that point in time, you really cannot go anywhere except certain places. And then our canteen vendors, they want to come to school. They didn't want to stay at home because that's the only place you can go. That was a very challenging time to get the work from home and teaching from home. It was very challenging. And I heard from my colleagues that the challenging part is actually the homes that is so small. He passed on already. This colleague of mine, he was a teacher. The son need to do online. He need to do online. He realized that they don't have a proper place. There's no place for them to do this because they're just interfering with each other. So that is a physical thing. And imagine that if we teachers have this kind of problem, there are many, many more students who come from very challenging background. One room, and maybe there are 4 or 5 people there doing the online thing. It was a real challenging situation there. Not only about this physical thing, but it's also for the teachers to prepare lessons. Of course, right now, there were so many technology to support this online learning and so much more materials online.
Yeah.
So it's quite a breeze now. I think teachers do look forward to work from home. Yeah, we do have. MOE still. I think they still have it where the students will have this online learning days, so that we keep this thing flowing and system going.
So you finally fully retired lah, right? In 2000 last year,
Yes.
2023. When you look back at these, actually it's same, right? 50 years, isn't it, of teaching
In between, I
since
went for
yeah, I
yeah, I
mean
went
in the
for
education
studies. That's right.
service.
That's right. In the
Yeah,
education, yes. I didn't realize
yeah.
so long.
Yeah, exactly. Half
Mm,
a
mm,
century.
mm.
Um, what do you look back uh, at with the greatest satisfaction or fondness?
I think I enjoyed every phase of my teaching life. You know, from the primary school to the challenging students to the situation, and I must say I'm very privileged that I taught in more than 10 schools. I really enjoyed each school differently, and the colleagues that I've met, the students that I've met. Yeah, I have very fond memories of the whole stretch. Anything special? I can't say. It's just I just enjoyed it. That's why I carried on teaching. I would have carried on teaching if not for the fact that at this age, you know, uh, I realized that people around me, they are either having, I shared with you, mobility issues or health issues. And I told myself, I need to give myself time now. I would like to carry on until such time that I think, oh, I'll retire and do what I want. But I said, no, no, I may not be able to do the things that I want if I don't do it now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one of the questions I want to ask you, right, is how did you manage to stay in education for 50 years?
Yeah, many teachers who stayed on
Mm,
education for as a single career.
mm,
I think the main difference is that I enjoyed every phase. Every phase. When I was in MOE, I was actually a library development officer, even though I have science background. At that point in time, we were helping schools, especially primary schools, to build up the library because reading is such an important skill and foundation that we need to give to the child and to be interested in knowledge, in books. Those days we have no internet. So these things are so important. And I must say we were very, very successful because my colleagues were there just didn't want to go back to school, even though we are given better positions. And even though when we were in the we call it library development unit, we were like a Cinderella department because everybody say library is important, but nobody gives it the importance. You know what I mean? Everybody say, you know, but MOE did a good job in giving us a lot of money because my colleague, when they started this unit, they wrote in to get money to help to resource the library. And then we give training to the teachers. And those days, the teachers, we have 3 modules, and the teachers will sign on for every module, which goes to show that they found it useful and they wanted it. And because teachers are not good, what should I say? Not good people to attend courses because the time is so precious. So they either attend any course unless it helps them. You know, they seldom want to sign up for anything. But otherwise, they were really good. They signed up for all the 3 modules, starting from setting up the library. Then the second phase is promoting reading habit, and thirdly, information skills, which is akin to the internet now, where we know how to source for information. But those days you source for books. This is very challenging. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, the
So
library is so critical, right, in terms of learning and reading. Yeah. Do you think that the policy, right, which you alluded to just now of rotating teachers around so that they don't stay in one place, that's a good policy?
we don't rotate teachers. Teachers have a choice where they want to go. We only rotate principals and school lead. We rotate principals, and then the others, they apply to go here or there. I think maybe school leaders, usually the principal, they rotate. I think vice principals too. Is it a good thing? I think so. Yeah. Especially when you have a very challenging principal, you know there's hope. This person is going to move away. It is it is very, very painful to have a very
Yes.
challenging principal, okay?
Right.
And we have, and well, we stay in school for 5 to 7 years. That's enough to go through one whole phase. But this, the minister of it, Mr. Teo Chee Hian, he did a wonderful thing. He introduced open posting. where teachers go online to look at what vacancies are available in what schools and they apply. It is amazing because in the past we don't do that. We only get to be transferred when we apply to MOE because of certain reasons, and most of the time is that we have moved from this point to that point. So if the teacher is happy to stay in that school, she can stay there for life. Okay, but
they are usually encouraged to move, right? Isn't it?
Teachers, not really, but key personnel, yes. Okay, and those who hold positions like heads of department, because they really want you to grow and have the exposure so that you benefit different schools. And actually, it's really, I mean, if I have a chance, I would really like my teachers, if I should run a school, I would really like to have my teachers go and teach for a term in another school and get the other teacher to come and teach in my school for a term, because you really learn a lot of things. What are some of the strengths your school has? You come back appreciating the school better, or you come back with some ideas that you can introduce in the school, which I don't think they are doing. But that will be good for teachers to be, but it is challenging with the new roles, that the teachers really have a lot of things to do, which when I was a teacher, we just teach and we go home. You know, now they really have quite a lot of programs that they have to handle.
I just have one last question, and on this channel, we talked a lot about heritage, and in this case, the heritage of schools, the alumni, the memories of the alumni. And it's become quite a pressing issue these days, I think, because of space constraints, our falling birth rate, declining enrollment. Many of our smaller and older primary schools, secondary schools, and now JCs are being closed down or merged. And sometimes the name is gone, right? Or the name is kind of combined with another school name, so that it's become quite hard for alumni to trace their roots and where they had studied, where they had found their friends for many years. What is your thinking about the school heritage?
I would like to talk about the national heritage. This is Singapore. Nothing stays. Okay, we just need something, and then we don't give value to this place and preserve it, because there is something that is going to bring in money. I'm not saying that we cannot. We need to advance and grow and so on, but it is a sad thing. I didn't realize how bad it was until my former school. We have a prime program. That means we really raise the school down and rebuild a school to give it better facilities. And it was really beautiful. And one student came back and I said, wow, you look at the school. It's so nice. There were so many things. Then she said, I don't like it. And I was like, why? Because this corner, this corner, I always sit down with my friends to do homework and chit chat. It's gone. It's nowhere to be seen. See? So really, these things about heritage, Singapore must really think very carefully. I'm not saying schools cannot go, but the bigger issues is like, as a Singaporean, when you want to show your child, or when you come back from overseas, you want to go back to this place that you want to see, because it brought back so many memories, but they're gone. Everything is razed to the ground. I would say everything. So when it comes to the school, I don't blame them. I mean, even as students, they can feel this. Can you imagine if you're a citizen of Singapore, where you take whole Singapore as a home, and you don't have anything to remember by? Everything is new. It is very sad.
Do you have any thoughts about how this could be done, in terms of conserving some of the, I don't know if it's possible to conserve schools, or maybe repurpose them, right? Instead of demolishing them, you use them for other purposes, or somehow document the memories, collect the photographs, for example, things like that.
I am sure many of them have done that, but unfortunately, like you just shared, many of the schools are merged, and therefore even the alumni, So where do you keep the photo? Which one do you have? Because this school already have a new name. Yeah. So where is the shared memories? It's very difficult for them to curate. It's just not easy. But many of them do that. But I must say that the younger generation, they may not feel so strongly about this.
Yeah, and I wonder if teachers do feel an attachment to the schools they have taught in, right? Especially those that they have taught in for many years, right? It's not just the alumni, but of course the schools, the principals, maybe even the people who work in the schools, the admin staff. They might feel an attachment to their place of work.
I take myself as an example.
Mm-hmm.
I have fond memories of the schools I work with, but do I have attachment to the school? Not so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Although I'm, as an alumnus, do I? But as long as the school is existing, I'm quite happy that it is there, because many schools are no longer around, even though they moved to a new location. I know that it's certain alumnus, they're very, very strong. And the spirit goes on because they attract the younger ones to join them. Yeah. I would like to flag St. Nicholas as an example.
Okay.
It is quite amazing when I went there, because we see St. Nicholas. Wow, it is a elite school. It has track and field and so on. How come these good schools have all these facilities? Okay, that's how I saw it. But when I was there, I realized that they were the old girls, the Chinese educated. They were the ones who pour in money, raise funds, donate to buy that piece of land, to build the track, and they're still servicing it. Because if it's as long as it's not a standard feature in the school, the school has to pay for it. And then the school has also to upkeep a certain percentage. And I really take my hat off to these old girls who love their school so much. And even though it moved from one place to another, they were still there to raise funds, and they were there to support the students. They were there to take care of their Mei. I mean, and even though they may not have a stake in it, they may not have children, girls who sent to the school. I think it is the IJ and Chinese heritage that they have, the 饮水思源, the gratitude. Yes, all this comes together to make St. Nicholas what it is, and I hope they continue to attract the current students when they could become adults, to continue this spirit of contributing and serving the schools. And they come back very often. Yeah, it's quite a wonderful thing, which I don't see in our school. I think they never had that tradition. They had this tradition and they carried on until now, ongoing. I hope it just, I had to flag this out because to me it was such a amazing thing about education, that you love, your school, you love the people there, you support them. They really support them. They really sign checks just like that. When there's a need. And when something happens to one of the students in school, it's so easily they can raise funds, so people just contribute. I'm not sure about the modern parents now, though, but the older ones, the older alumni, they were always there. Amazing.
Well said. So if there's any listener there who's from St. Nicholas, like to come on the show, you're very welcome to join us and talk about your memories of St. Nicholas. My wife's from St. Nicholas, actually.
Oh, really? Sure. She is from the younger generation, but I'm sure she knows. Yeah, because they have programs like this. Yeah.
Okay. Final question for you. Any advice would you give to a new teacher today?
Okay. Really, teaching is a vocation where you can give a lot and it is not enough. And sometimes you can do little and you can get away. You can. And but most of teachers really care for the students. And I want to advise the teachers to self-care because the demand on a teacher is really, really a lot, okay? Emotionally, physically, mentally, okay? Especially when you have challenging and unreasonable parents, it really drives you around the bend. So have self-care, give yourself the time, know when to say no, when to put a stop, and always remember to take care of yourself. Because if you take care of yourself, you can take care of others. Yes, it is a very demanding job. But if you love students, you love children, love working with people, this is a very satisfying, enriching job. Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, I think that is indeed, very sound advice to current teachers and future teachers as well, right? I mean, you can't really help others that well if you don't take care of yourself first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really been a great pleasure to speak to you, Maria. Listening to your very vivid and strong memories, positive memories of teaching, as well as some very interesting and useful insights into the practice of teaching, into the experience of teaching. Very grateful to have you on the podcast again, Maria.
Thank you. Yeah, it's nice sharing some of this because there are quite a few things that we don't. We only see teachers as like going in and teach the students, but the demands on them is really very high. And just understand where they're coming from. You take care of your child, the teacher take care of so many students. Yeah, in so
That's
many
right.
ways. Yes.
That's right.
Right. Yeah.
So let's keep in touch, and I'll see you on Facebook again.
Yeah.
And have a good day.
Yeah. Say hello to your wife for me.
I will.
Wherever
I
she
will.
is.
I'll
Yeah.
definitely tell her to watch the last part about self-care.
Oh, she in teaching too?
She's a teacher. Yes.
Yes. That part, I mean, it just came out spontaneous. I didn't think about it. But now that as I was talking here, I know there are so many teachers who really work so long, such long hours. And then, we carry a job home, especially when you're going to meet a challenging parent. This thing just sit and you can't sleep,
Yeah. Correct. You
and
you
especially
must
they are
somehow
unreasonable. Yes. It just sits
try
there on
to
you.
leave it at the door, right? Don't
It's
let it come
difficult.
home.
It's difficult when you deal, it is difficult. Yes, self-care, right.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Thank you very
yeah,
much, Maria.
yes. Okay,
Okay.
bye-bye.
Bye.